given the current context in Latin America, we've seen all these uprisings against the dominant neoliberal projects. We've seen it in Ecuador and against IMF. We've seen it in Chile now. We see it in Haiti. We see the shift in the correlation of forces. And obviously, we know that the United States is not one to stand down towards that. We just recently had a conference on war and sanctions here at the People's Forum, exploring the different ways in which U.S. imperialism has attacked many of the countries that have struggled to gain sovereignty. And so I'm wondering, how do you see the U.S. react to Bolivia now that Evo Morales has won another term?
Yes, it's quite horrible what they're doing and very dangerous. And this is a terrible thing that they control the Organization of American States so much right now. That's partly because they supply 60%, about 60% of the funding. And so they use that to threaten the OAS and even the staff there. But they also, the Secretary General of the OAS right now, Luis Almagro, is very tightly allied with the Trump administration politically. And so because of that, what happened was the OAS on October 21st, I think it was like a day or two after the election, they put out a press release which called into question the vote count. And this was outrageous because, first of all, they provided zero evidence whatsoever, like nothing, you know, to say why anybody should question the vote count. They said one thing in the press release. They said, well, you know, Bolivia has this quick count that they did for the first 83% of votes. And that quick count, it's not clear that there's even intended or planned to do more than 83%. That's not the official count. But they did this quick count, and then they stopped there. And Evo was ahead by 6 percentage points. And then there was a lot of pressure from the OAS and the EU to continue the quick count in addition to the separate slow official count. So they did the rest of them. And during that time, Evo's lead went from about 6 percentage points to 10.5. And that was the official count, actually, that ended up at 10.5. Now, what does that mean? That means that he wins in the first round. If you get 50% of the vote plus 1, then you win automatically in the first round, and there doesn't have to be a runoff. But if you get 40% or more, and he had that, I think it's 40.
47. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you get over 40% in the first round, and you're 10 percentage points ahead of the second place, then you win automatically. Now, they said, oh, this looks, you know, suspicious, because how did he go from 6 to 10? And, you know, the thing is, if you actually look at the data, which we did, it's all up on the web. There's 34,000 data points from all the places where people voted. And you can see what happened. What happened was not that the voting changed or the trend changed. What happened is that the places where Evo is most popular, which is a lot of rural areas and poor areas, their votes came in later. And you can see that just looking at the data. And then we've also done some more statistical work, which hasn't been released yet, which shows the same thing. But you can actually just see it, and we put out a press release where we put some of the data in there, and you can see exactly what happened. So this was not at all evidence of anything wrong, and that's why the OAS didn't have any evidence, because that's all they could point to. And then a few days later, they put out their preliminary report. This is an observer mission. So these are professionals, okay? They observe elections. They're supposed to know how to look at data. And the reporters, I understand, they don't use data, most of the people who report on this. And so they just went with the OAS.